welcome, everyone. It's Friday again. It's cold here in Colorado, but we are here to talk comics. So welcome, comic book fans. Today we're going to try and help some comic creators reach their crowdfunding goals because making comics is hard. Getting people to buy your comics is even harder, but we're here to help.
Today, Destiny will choose 3 indie comics to choose from us to review. By the end of the show, we will choose who to give our money to based off of the pitch. Watch to the end. See if you agree. Put in the comments below whether you do or you don't. We want to hear what you have to say. But in the meantime, let's spin that wheel.
There can be only one.
your like accent started off with like this Asian and then it went into Schwarzenegger. It's just like curved around.
This amalgamy of just whatever I felt like. I don't know where I was going with that either. It helps if you have direction when you're doing that sort of thing, but I didn't. I was just making it up as I went along. I was having fun, which is what we do on this show.
For
frick's sake.
This is the funnest show of the week, and if you're missing it, you're missing out.
That's right.
Dead Cosmos is here. One of our most loyal followers. Welcome. It's currently just Smurf and I today. It's a quiet day here in Colorado because we're getting snowed on. Snow and more snow. The schools are closed. Most people are snowed in today. But it's a good day to sit and watch our show, right?
Yeah. I mean, actually, what I'm going to go do, this is the uber nerd that I am. I'm going to go take my Snow Job action figure from the G.I. Joe Classified figure line, and I'm going to go set him up for a couple of photo shoots out in the backyard. So I'm going to take advantage of the weather. So uber nerd right here, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. But that's okay. That's what we do. I guess because I live in the center of town. I'm more leery of a tree branch taking out power lines than anything else. So if that happens, then I have no power. So the phone is charging, and with all luck, I'll have a nice warm day. Otherwise, who knows? Who knows?
Well, I don't think you're the only one going out for photo shoots today. I've seen some other photo shoots, but I think it's a good day for it.
Well, and you know,
especially with the Snow Job G.I. Joe figure. I mean, that sounds awesome.
Yes. I mean, that figure is amazing. The accessories. He even has snowshoes, like the little claw things.
You're gonna need them because the snow's deep out there.
It is. Yes, it is. But I don't have kids. I don't have anything. You know, it's just little old me with all of these books to read. All the way down there.
Yep. Speaking of books, we've got some new indie comic books to look at today. We're going to dive deep into 3 of them and discuss how to avoid some costly mistakes. Smurf and I are fresh off of an interview we did with Dirk Manning just a couple days ago, who's also loaded full of insights. So be looking for that video to pop up on YouTube by the end of the weekend, most likely.
Nice. That was such a fun interview. Dirk the Daring. He is awesome. Oh my God. Our conversation was so intense. Comics, horror, classic horror, like classic horror. I felt bad. Okay. I may have almost ran the entire interview just out of habit. Matt got a couple of questions in, but
it's all right. I edited it all out.
I made it look like I asked the questions. It's Colbert style, where it's just my head and then he answers the question. I like that.
Yep.
And we should bring up, before we spin the wheel.
Go for it. I'm currently sharing it.
Because you and I had a conversation yesterday about a particular Kickstarter, which is destroying it right now. I mean, absolutely destroying it. It's a pre-horror comic book collection. So it's basically collecting some of the most rarest and difficult horror comics to locate. And they even said this in their write-up. You know, the Comics Code did more damage than Hitler when it came to burning books. So these classic horror stories are lost to time. If you can find them, it's great. But they've been able to put together some interesting titles. Suspense Comics 3, 8, 11, and 12. Punch Comics 12 and 9. Chamber of Chills, which is like one of, if I could get a hold of a Chamber of Chills 19 or number 23, if I can get a hold of any of the Chamber of Chills, I would be ecstatic. Weird Mysteries 4, 5, 6, and 12, and Weird Chills 1, 2, and 3. So these comics have been eradicated from the earth. These guys somehow are able to put together a remastered version and collect these amazing stories in a trade hardcover collection. So right now, and this breaks all records. We can't, no matter what we do, there's nothing that we can add in it. It seems very unfair. Now, Matt and I went back and forth about this because it's still on the wheel, but we didn't do the G.I. Joe Kickstarter simply because of what it was. And this kind of falls under the category. Right now, as of right now, and I'm looking at it, they have 655 backers. 19 days left to go. The amount that they have raised is $211,809.
Yep. Yeah.
And that is just wow. Holy Lord. So I mean, whatever we're gonna tell these guys, are gonna be like, "Oh, aren't you cute?" And they're gonna pat us on the head and send us out the door. And we don't want to discourage anybody in the wheel with this, because this is so unique and so rare.
Yeah, I mean, so one of the things that we discussed about, when we do this show, it's about helping people with their campaigns. It's about looking at how they present it. It's particularly focusing on indie comic creators, particularly newer indie comic creators that are trying to learn the ropes of Kickstarter. And these big campaigns, they're generally run by people who are already well established in the industry. And then they've got these massive, either with the G.I. Joe and in this other book, it's just like a big, collection of books. And so it reaches this massive audience. So we don't want to put both of those up against each other on the wheel, So that's why we decided to not have that on the wheel this week. But we do have some pretty fun entries this week. Let me go ahead and share that at the Wheel of Destiny.
I'm got my note maker thing here.
Yeah.
Oh, I think just a pen.
Yes, and just as a quick backstep to what we were just talking about with Dirk. So last week our winner was London After Midnight. It's a great book. Go check it out. But what we are going to try to do, and this Dirk was our first go around with this, is we're going to try to arrange to have some interview style show that we record and post up to YouTube with the winners of our wheel each week, particularly if that person still has campaign time left. But even if they don't, we want to try and give an opportunity to talk to these creators and see what they've learned and how to share those tips and advice out to the world. So be looking for that. Those are going to be launching on YouTube very soon. The first one should come out, like I said, by the end of the weekend. So let's take a look at our entries this week. We've got, starting from the top, Pyre, Burial at Sea, The Remainders, Tales from the Cryptic Closet, Curse of the 31st Comic, A Haunting on Mars, The Grim Reaper, The Z-Normals, the Grim Reaper, and The Prophetess, issue 1. So something I've been seeing trending lately. I don't know if it's for coming off of Halloween, but there have been a lot of horror books on Kickstarter as of late. Even this massive one that you've been talking about is also like a classic horror, kind of thing. So, yeah, it's definitely popular right now. All right. So with that being said, I think that it is time to get into that wheel.
Let's fucking go!
There can be only one Highlander type situation. Behold, my wheel of
Destiny!
Pitter patter, let's get at her.
Time to spin the wheel.
Time to spin the wheel.
Yeah, spin
All
the wheel.
right. Spin it. All right, let's do it. First one up. Who's it gonna be? Looks like our first one is the Grim Reaper. Congratulations on that. Let me go ahead and make sure I got that one pulled up. I'm multitasking today. We don't have our super producer Ray with us, but I'm on top of it. I'm getting it. All right, next up, number 2. We've got Tales from the Cryptic Closet. All right, I got that one pulled up. Leaving, last but not least, number 3. All right, looks like Curse of the 31st Comic. An interesting name for a title. And this one is on Indiegogo. All right. So go ahead and switch to that tab. All right, here we are. Grim Reaper 1 and 2 says, let's make that full screen so I can see a little better. The haunted marijuana-fueled massacre continues. Who else will succumb to this devil's crop and be possessed by a rabid killer? So, don't have a video, but they are about 21% or so to their goal of 5,000 with 28 backers and 16 days to go. So, maybe that video is keeping them from getting a few extra people. Who knows? In our experience, you can get away with not having a video if you've already got a pretty big following. But if you're going to Kickstarter and you're expecting to, generate new followers on Kickstarter, it's definitely helpful to have that video.
It's a tough sell because you have people with a short enough attention span already, and they want to be engaged. And
apparently the snow is affecting the internet connection at Smurf's house.
Yep. I knew it. Son of a bitch.
It's all right. It's all right. I'll finish your sentences for you.
Thank you.
All right. So scrolling down, it says the synopsis is: when a botched heist leads to his cousin's Grant violent death, Marty flees the blood-soaked scene only to discover that Grant's spirit has become entwined with a new strain of weed cultivated on the site of his death. Those who smoke the cursed ganja become possessed by Grant's vengeful spirit. Marty races against time to thwart his cousin's ghostly killing spree and uncover the dark truth behind a haunted hashish before it's too late. I gotta say, that's a pretty fun premise.
I like it.
And I like that already in that first paragraph, it's clearly explained the whole premise of this book. Right? straight to the point. I know what's going on. I know who's involved. I know what the goals are. And the only thing I don't really get a vibe for yet is the tone. Is this going to be comedy, which is most likely? Is it going to be really violent? Don't really know yet.
I mean, do you know a violent stoner?
I mean, he's a vengeful spirit. So
he's a
who knows?
Vengeful high spirit. I mean, you're still high.
Are you still high in the afterlife? That's the question this book will answer.
Right? Do you carry that with you into the afterlife?
Oh man, that's a good question. Let's see. The cannabis-induced carnage continues, picking up where we left off last issues, because we get 2 issues going on here. After a grisly murder committed by someone who has no memory of what happened, Marty and his friends have to get to the bottom of where this tainted strain of weed is coming from. Do they dare enter the grow house? All right.
Dun, dun, dun.
Cover by Claudio Munoz. Nice, good looking work.
Yeah.
So this like I said, looks like a good premise. Looks like it's got a nice kind of cross mix between horror and probably some comedy. I'm assuming it's got to have some amount of comedy in there with the weed.
I'm sure there's some low budding jokes.
Right. So we've got different covers here, as you can see in this nice GIF image. We've got it looks like a statue apparently.
I was gonna say, is that a statue?
Yeah, it looks like it. At least it's a 3D model of it. Maybe it hasn't been made yet. And then we've got some preview images here, which also look good. Right. So, so what can we do to help bring this up? Because right now, like I said, it's got 16 days to go. I'm going to assume, and because we can't ever tell, maybe there's a way and I just don't know it, but like when the campaign actually starts, unless you're actually there the day it starts.
Right.
And so all you get to see is when it ends. And so this has got 16 days, but most people will do like a 30-day campaign. So I'm assuming that they're like somewhere around halfway done.
Halfway point.
And they're not at the halfway point of reaching their goal. So what do you think, Smurf? How can we help out these haunted hashish storytellers?
Is there, so in the goals, is there a digital version? I mean, I hate to keep going back to this because it's
a good one.
It's a good one, and it's easy way to generate revenue. It really is.
All right, so you're... Oh, go ahead.
Especially if this is issue 2 or the second part of the story, why not have the first issue available for digital download if you make a pledge and then an actual copy of this as a second tier? Right. I mean, it would entice people to like, hey, I can get both stories for, relatively inexpensive amount of money.
Well, you are absolutely correct. This creator is missing that crucial piece of the puzzle, at least from what I can see so far. The very first entry says issue 2, cover A, $10. Then issue 1, cover A, $10. Oh, here we go. Down below, which I would have moved this at the top somehow, but it says digital bundle, get both copies of issue 1 and 2 for $10. Then we have cover B, and then we have shirts. So
that should be the lead off. If you have a digital bundle, it's like the Big Mac and fries combo, baby. I'll take a number 1. Boom, boom, boom. You know how many Big Macs got sold that weekend when they invented the value meal? I just take a number 1. I mean, this is the same thing. I would totally have that as the lead off for your stretch goals, because that's going to be like, oh, hey, perfect.
I can say from experience, it can be tricky to get a reward on top of another one on Kickstarter when they are the same price because Kickstarter puts them in order of price, but also in order of which one you entered. So if you entered 3 at $10, it's going to put the one that you entered in first at the top, right? usually anyway, because you can see it's definitely not in alphabetical order. Otherwise, digital bundle would come before issue 1.
Right.
So you kind of got to be careful with that, and sometimes go back, delete your old ones, and then move it back up. It can get a little challenging sometimes, for sure. But from what I can tell, scrolling down, they've got another cover. Cover B is a little bit more. And one of the things that I would recommend to anybody that's going to mark up a variant cover is why, right? Why is this cover cost more? Is it because you're making less of them? Is it because it's a low run compared to the others? Like, if you remember what Dirk was talking about on our interview yesterday, about how Kickstarter is a place to get an exclusive, right? Mm-hmm. So are you saying that the issue 1 is going to just be a constant reprint, and so therefore it's not special, but this one is, and that's why it's more? If so, you need to say something, right? So
yeah, give us something like it's 1 in 25, or have a cap on this particular cover B, like the first 10 backers or whatever, so that there is some value, some enticement to the collector, because at this point, a variant cover, you're only really kind of targeting the collectors with those rare finds, and some of your fans, don't get me wrong, but I mean the collectors are going to go more for it than, because the regular fans will be like, I just want the story, and they'll be fine with cover A.
Right. And here's another one that might be beneficial here. You've got a bundle pack that says issue 1 and 2, all covers, right? So you got 2 covers that are cover B that are $15 each, and then you got 2 regular covers that are $10, which equals $50. So there's no benefit of getting them all. I would definitely have marked that down. Another thing to consider is that if these $15 rewards are more valuable because you're only going to print a small run of them, offer them the PDF as well, right? It doesn't cost you anything, but it gives it more value, and it allows them to read it without having to open up their special valued piece. So that's another easy way to add people or add value to your stuff here.
All right.
So yeah, I think, go ahead.
So what's the $25 one? So you get the T-shirt, $50. So $100 for the whales with the figure. But is there any additional things for the 100? Because right now, it looks like you're just the comics shirt and the figure, which kind of all comes to $100, right?
So on the $100 one, you get the 4 books that we already determined were a $50 value above, and then you get a 4-inch 3D printed figure. Those are the 2 things that you get, right? Looks like, I'm sure it's unpainted, according to what it looks like. And then for $200, that you could be in the comic, which is always a nice reward.
Yeah.
All right. So there's no one at the 200. There's no one. There are a couple of backers on the 50 and the 100, so that's good. But I definitely think there's room for improvement on the rewards, on giving people more value, and then I think an intro video, because the art looks good, the premise looks good. I think a quick intro video with some, creepy, maybe some smoke rolling in, just get Snoop Dogg style intro video, and you're golden. You could get
because I think if they had a video to set the tone, because you and I are both like, well, we know it's horror, and there's so many different genres to horror now. Is it a comedy horror? Is it just, death and horror? Is it just, you get high, you die type of scenario? Is the Friday the 13th approach? So I think if you could actually have a lot of fun with this, just even having like a couple of stoners sitting on the couch, getting high, talking about the Grim Reaper. Hey, man, it's an urban legend, and I know you can't show yourself taking a toke on a bong, but I mean, just having a bong like right there with the fog around you kind of create the picture.
Yep.
I think that would be just, hey man, the Grim Reaper. You heard about that guy? Nah, man, he's over in Queens. You know, stuff like that. Have some fun with this. Also, as far as like a marketing standpoint, I would absolutely get your local comic book shop involved. I would do some kind of special.
Get your local head shop involved.
I mean, there are plenty of weed shops out there that would jump on this. That would totally be like, dude, we would love to back your product. We get some kind of arrangement going that you can have an exclusive copy available at their shop or something like that. I know that the rules and regulations read like a phone book when it comes to marijuana and all of that. So consult your legislature for that. But get a head shop involved somehow. Do a signing. Do a smoking. Do something, but you're missing. That's right. Puff read, baby. Puff read. I mean, there's some really cool things that I think from a promotional aspect that are being missed on this, and I think that would push you over the hump, especially with like 16 days. You could do like 5 days to come up with something, and I'm sure you guys have a shop you frequent that are probably like, dude, this is a great idea.
Yeah, especially if you have a QR code that jumps right to the Kickstarter. You probably get those made, within an afternoon. Get them printed off. Go to a couple of your local shops. Make some phone calls, and you can probably get this out. One last thing I want to mention before we move on to the next one is the thumbnail. On Kickstarter, a thumbnail is important because it has to get a lot of attention. So right now, and I know this is extra tiny on your screen, Smurf, but this is the thumbnail, right? They don't have a video, and so the thumbnail is a collage. And here's the bigger version of it.
That's noisy.
Go full screen here.
That's noisy. That's a lot. That's almost too much.
Right, and so when you compare that to, I'm just going to click on comics and then scroll down to a couple of these. This is the size that we see it on the screen, and this is the same concept that you want to treat like on YouTube, right? You want to have clear, high contrast imagery that can be seen quickly. Like the second one is fantastic with the creature standing in front of the fire, right? This one here on the left with the girl on the dark background. These are high contrast and easy to see, and that's gonna help get readership, get clicks. Basically, they're gonna have a reason to actually click on it, because if you're not bringing your your audience, you don't have an audience, then you're totally relying on Kickstarter. And if you're relying on Kickstarter, then that thumbnail better be strong, better be powerful to get people's attention.
Yeah, right. I mean, if anything, cut those covers into a quick 1-minute video, just as an introduction. Here are all the different covers. Grim Reaper, light up, let's go. I don't know. I'm just spitballing right now at this point. There's so many ideas.
So many ideas, right?
I do. I have so many on this one.
Yeah, same here.
I hope they fun. I really do. I hope they fun. I'd like to see this. I would like to see this in my local ganja shop. Not that I smoke, but
the artwork is great.
The artwork is great. I mean,
feel.
Really does have an EC Comics kind of feel to it. I like it. I can appreciate it from a horror standpoint. I think it looks great. Really does.
Yeah. All right, on to the next one. The next one is another horror-based book called
Tales from the Cryptic Closet. Oh, evidently they must have visited my ex-wife. Just kidding. Just kidding. For all I know, she probably watches, curses me. Fuck you, Smurf.
All right. A random Facebook user says, absolutely agree about a quick video with all those covers instead of it being compressed into a single image. Absolutely, yes.
Agreed.
And then Kitten Puke says, is this an art/comics channel? How would you respond to that, Smurf?
Yes and more.
Yes and more. That's right.
Yes and more.
So yes. If you're on YouTube, which looks like you are, yes, Matt Campbell Art. I am a teacher of comics. I teach art at college, So on my channel, you're going to find either, me making art, teaching art, or Smurf and I over here helping people do their indie comic campaigns. And so, yes, you're in the right place. All right, so next up on the Wheel of Destiny, we've got our second entry. This is Cryptic Closet 4. Let me move this off to the other screen so I can multitask a little bit better. All right. They are 21 days to go, and they are, looks like maybe a third of the way to their $7,500 goal. It's a pretty big goal. Their tagline says, once again, Guerrilla Publishing is partnering with the Cryptic Closet to bring you a creepy horror anthology to rattle your bones. All right, so to those who were part of this, I don't know what Guerrilla Publishing is, and I don't know what the Cryptic Closet is. So the only thing I get out of this is that it's a creepy horror anthology, right? So is that publishing information helping in your one-sentence pitch? Probably not. Maybe there's a way to make that more intriguing and hook-like, right? Hooky. Make it more of a hooker. All right. So this one does have a video, so let's check it out, see what it tells us. Go full screen on this.
So I'm thinking first two issues, we had Killer Cross, third issue, in 3D we were able to have Danhausen. So this time around, I was thinking maybe we can switch some things up, yeah?
Yeah, maybe instead of a horror themed wrestler, we get a horror actor or iconic character, someone who played one.
That would be awesome. That reminds me, I was actually watching the Texas Chainsaw Massacre
From that time,
Jumping forward.
That's what I'm saying. Wouldn't it be fun and get on this fourth joint?
Yeah, and he's done a few horror stuff. Like
that would be great. Hey, do you see that over there, dude?
why is there a trail of blood here?
Yeah, this is.
What is that?
Holy crap. What is that?
Right. I know the book is done and everything, but who got an advance copy already?
That's what I'm trying to find out.
Oh.
This makes no sense, dude.
You're right. Okay.
Okay.
He says.
Okay.
So I skipped forward a little bit because they were talking. Did you get anything out of that?
Not a damn thing. I'm very confused at the moment. So we go from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is celebrating its 50th anniversary, which was last year. And they come across this book, which kind of feels like the Book of Mormon. Like suddenly they're walking along and they discover the plates in the desert while they're walking along, and they discover their own comic. Huh?
Yes. So going to the videos specifically, like, because we always like to talk about the videos, right?
Yeah.
I liked that it was two people, on camera. I actually liked when it switched to the "Hey, where's this blood?" and the sound of the horror music in the background. That was a great choice. That was the right levels. But all that talk beforehand obviously was not intriguing me enough. Wasn't telling me anything. It was just these two guys having a conversation, and it wasn't about. It didn't have a hook at the beginning. Like if you start off a conversation, I'm thinking of like Quentin Tarantino. If you're going to have a long conversation, start it off right from the bat with something that gets me hooked. Like for instance, if you die while you're high, you carry that with you, into the afterlife, and then start a conversation. Well, now I'm interested, right?
Now I'm interested.
I didn't know what these guys were going to be talking about. I didn't have a reason to keep going. So I wanted to get out of it pretty quickly, So yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I get it. Being on video is one of the hardest things to do, but at least have some kind of energy, some kind of like enthusiasm. You guys are, I'm sure, very passionate about the work and your project. So let's see some of that energy. Let's see some of that excitement, because this was kind of flat. The levels were where they needed to be for audio, and miking up probably would have helped. But when I can hear your footsteps over your dialogue, that's a bit of a problem. But I get the idea, but at least have something kind of scripted like you would your comic, because we jump around and nobody likes going from one panel going, wait, did I miss a panel, and having to turn the page backwards to see if you missed something. And that's kind of what I get when we're watching this. So I don't know how we would have this. I don't know where this came from. I don't know who the other characters that you were talking about in the previous book. What do we have in Cryptic Closet number 4? Why are we on issue 4? What happens in issue? Who's the dude on the cover? I want it. Why the closet and not the pantry? I mean, what? My pantry is a hell of a lot more cryptic than the closet. So I mean, there are simple questions that you can have fun with it. The video is cool and it starts, but it just you need something more. Like, dude, did you hear about the Cryptic Closet? Or I've got this great idea because of this. And like Matt said, I need something to keep me hooked to watch that, because
there's
very
nothing
energetic,
there, right?
very entertaining, but not enough to keep me like.
Right.
I hate to use this word. No substance. There's no
substance there. Yeah, I agree. And when I look at the story section of this video or this campaign, the very first thing that it starts with is what's going on to get here as far as the company. It tells me about Guerrilla Publishing, teaming up, paying homage to EC Comics, which is, something that we're seeing come up again and again. And now we're launching our 4th installment. This 48-page anthology is packed with some of our best work and stories, right? I still don't know, anything about the previous 3, what's going on in this one. And honestly, like I would have liked to have seen some like snippets or some different styles. You remember not too long ago, we came across an anthology that had like a 1-sentence pitch and like 1 or 2 pages for each comic.
Yep.
Or each page of the anthology, or each chapter, or whatever you want to call it. And it was really nice to see, like, okay, this is what I'm going to be getting. There's a lot of different variety here. I like what I'm looking at. And so one of the things we talk about on the show all the time, I swear a lot of the things we just keep repeating over and over again. But it's because they seem to be proving to be true over and over again.
Tried and true. And that is that you have to market your campaigns to the new audience, right? You're trying to promote and bring in the new audience, because if you're doing a good job and you have a following, well, those people are going to just come back based on their following of you, right? But to everyone else that's coming along with this, we don't know what's going on. We don't have any clue. And so you always want to market to the new audience in the current issue. What's going on in this issue? And that helps tremendously. They have backed a lot of other campaigns, looking at 664 things that they've backed, which is a great sign. It shows that they're part of the indie community. They have a pretty high goal. It's not crazy high, but $7,500 is a lot to hit. At their 4th book with 56 backers, I would expect to see over 100 at their 4th issue, right? I would, at least triple digits. At least, I mean, 100 people are comfortably coming close to 100 people at this point, right?
Right. And like I said, the artwork's beautiful. The graphic design, like these little layouts over here on the right, this is clean. This looks good, even from a small scale. I can read everything. And this is a digital copy of the book. You can see that There's a lot of people jumping on that. Their physical copy of the book is the same price, which is kind of surprising. It's $5 for digital or $5 for the print, which I think is why there's probably a few more physical backers here.
I mean, combine them both, make a $10 level and a digital download of one of the variant covers for a $10 value. I think that would move. If you combined those and added one more thing to give it a little bit of value, I think would be a solid step forward, personally. Because sending that physical copy is going to be a bitch.
Right.
It's not going to be just $5.
No, it would be more than that. So this particular award confuses me a little bit. So there was a $5 digital reward, all right, for the 4th issue. That means they have 3 others. This one says the final chapter, get all 4 digital copies of Tales from the Cryptic Closet for $25. Why did it go up? Right? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay.
If anything, it should go down because it's a bundle pack. And they're digital, so it doesn't cost the creator anything.
No.
Right? So that's a little confusing to me on that one.
It's a little backwards.
Yeah. Okay. So I do feel like they've got a wide variety of prices. There is a huge jump here. We go from a $30 backing, a collectible premium card back along with your physical copy, to jumping up to $275. Like, that's a huge jump from $30 to $275. I would definitely consider having some like $50, $75, and $100 tiers in between there, because that's a huge jump.
You gotta pepper it, boys. You gotta pepper it a little bit. You can't just immediately go womp womp.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, there are the whales. Don't get us wrong. Last week we had a campaign that had like a very ambitious, what was it, $1,000 for.
Remember the one that had $10,000 to go to a convention with them?
I mean, I'm not saying that it's not unreasonable, but I mean, you gotta work into it. You just don't start running marathons. You train. So, you kind of got to walk them through a progression, and that's just, and I mean, because if you also have that progression, it gives like, you get this, you get this, you get this, and then this price, you get all of that in addition to. So you kind of have to build into it. Otherwise, they're like, why did we suddenly jump from $30 to $250?
Yeah. I think it's also a missed opportunity. Like, each campaign has its like target range of like where people tend to spend money. For me, it's in the $35 to $40 range, and so I have some tiers that are like in the $50 and the $75 range that really help like lift people into those higher tiers, but they're not like totally breaking the bank. Right? If you've only got one big tier and everything else is like, medium to low, then you're missing out on some people who are willing to spend some extra money, but not break the bank,
Yep.
But pretty good looking campaign overall. Lots of great looking art, great looking graphics here. I feel like the pitch needs some work as far as, what is this about? What kind of tone are we talking about? What kind of vibes are we going to get? The one preview that we have here is this little tiny image that has pictures that I can't really see. So I think some previews would definitely help. All right.
Just a quick reorganization, a shuffle, if you will, add a couple tiers, and rethink that approach. Because all I know is that you like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That is my big takeaway. That congratulations, you have amazing taste. You are a fan of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, greatest film of all time, and that's all I know. And you find a bloody cardboard thing next to a tree.
All right, so this brings us to our last one. I'm going to reshare it for some reason, but let's make sure it works.
Curse of the 31st comic. Dun, dun, dun. Do we have a video? Please tell me you have a video.
Doesn't appear so, but Indigo goes a little different. I don't know if they put theirs right at the top. So this is an Indiegogo campaign. We look at any campaign that is live, no matter what platform it is on. I always love seeing these different platforms and the way that they approach things. One thing that's unique about Indiegogo is that you can have an ongoing campaign. And so you have like a certain date, but then it continues to keep collecting after that. I think that's what it means. So when you hover over flexible goal, it says this campaign will receive funds raised even if it doesn't reach its funding goal, which is great. That's another reason why people use Indiegogo, is that if you are shooting for 10 and you only get 12 or 15, you still get some funding. But that can be difficult too, because if you're planning on making, say, like a big anthology book and you raise $1,200, do you still have the money to make your book? Are you still going to be able to fulfill those 14 backers or whatever you have, right? That can be a challenge as well. But this says, Curse of the 31st comic, a group of friends on Halloween night are faced with an evil entity after disturbing his grave. It looks like we've got a slideshow of images, kind of a gruesome looking tale. All right. Okay. I think, so if I'm not mistaken, I think all three of our entries today were horror.
All horror. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to do a quick scroll down to see if there's a video, and there is not. So I know you can upload a video onto this site, so I think that's another missed opportunity. All right, says, welcome to the Curse of the 31st, an indie horror comic created from the deepest corners of my Halloween-loving heart. My name is Joey Lucerine. Sorry if I'm butchering your name. And ever since I was a kid, I've been enchanted by the mysteries, chills, and thrills of Halloween. Now I'm combining my passion for the holiday and horror genre to bring you a comic that captures the spirit of Halloween in its most terrifying form. The story. A group of friends on Halloween night looking for more than candy decide to vandalize a historic village at the edge of their town and get more than they bargained for when they accidentally disturb the grave of an ancient evil entity buried out there. I mean, this sounds like your classic horror movie.
It does.
I need your help because I got to pay for the artwork and printing cost and our marketing and distribution and all of those fun things. So one of the rewards is to get your likeness on a character in the story. So that's nice.
I like that.
All right, looking over here at the perks, we've got a $1 donation. We've got a digital PDF for $5, a $10 physical copy, an 11x17 print, and a physical copy. That's nice. A shirt, although I don't see a picture of the shirt, but it looks like that one's just a shirt. This one's a hoodie or a sweatshirt. And a what? A Sander Hollow resin plaque. $60.
Okay.
Interesting. Sander figurine and tombstone. Engraved metal overlook cover, metal groundbreaker cover, metal slasher, a lot of metal covers.
Metal.
And, yeah. So they do have a lot of rewards, but none of them are being taken. So one of the things that this tells me is that this person may not have a strong social media following. And again, one of the reasons that people choose Indiegogo is because you don't have the risk like you do on Kickstarter, that if you don't hit your goal, you don't get anything. Right, that's how Kickstarter works. So they're like, well, hey, I don't really have a following, so I'm going to go this other route where I'm going to get whatever I get, right? But that's also, a risk too, because the amount of people that are trafficked through Kickstarter, the volume of people who go through Kickstarter is much bigger than any of the other platforms, right? Indiegogo is great. These other sites, they're great. Don't get me wrong, but they just don't get as much traffic as Kickstarter does. So if you don't have a following to start, and you're already going to a crowdfunding platform that has a smaller crowd, then you're just increasing the chances that you're not going to get very many backers, right? So if I was in this boat, what I would do is take it over to Kickstarter, where I have more chance of getting seen, and just set a really low goal that I know I can achieve, right? $10,000 for a single comic seems excessive, right? Maybe this person didn't do, all the research or something, but I know from experience that if you're paying for your artists and you're paying for your letters and all that, you can make a comic between like $4,000 and $5,000, and that's all you need, right? And that's
$5,000
also enough to cover the, few dozen, maybe even 100 people that you need to ship to, right? Because that only amounts to like a couple $100 altogether, right? And so why this particular campaign is 10,000, just to let you know, our winner last week, London After Midnight, was a leather-bound book, and its goal was $10,000. So this seems like a pretty high goal.
Unless, and I hate to say this, maybe the artist is kind of holding him hostage. I mean, you also have to be respectful of where you're at as far as your skill level. Not everyone gets pro rating, even though they are an artist. And I know this is a touchy subject, and everyone's like, well, you should pay for your art, and I agree. But you don't walk on the field and start getting Daryl Strawberry money. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Jeter is the top of his class. You're starting down here. You gotta put in the time. You gotta put in the effort. A $10,000 goal just does not seem realistic for a first-time comic, regardless of how pretty this looks. I mean, it is a gorgeous-looking book, but you need help. You either need to start hitting your local comic book shops, even do your own video of everything. I would flip-flop the intro with your bio. I mean, again, as much as we care about your backstory and why you're doing this, they're more interested in what they're getting. And the attention span of people is getting smaller and smaller. If I'm reading your bio before I get to the meat and potatoes of the comic, you're probably not getting a lot of people to do it, which I feel bad. Well, I didn't in the categories. But yes, I would easily and quickly roll this over to Kickstarter, and so that you have two campaigns going on at the same time. I would drop your goal in half. If your artist is charging you that much money,
honestly, like, here's the thing, like I said, on Kickstarter, if you don't hit your goal, you don't get anything, right? We can see that with 14 backers, which is probably some close friends and family, they've raised $1,200, right? So if you go over to Kickstarter and you set a goal for, say, $1,000,
I would even go $2,000.
And have some stretch goals, have some of those cool things that you're showing in your tiers, hit those stretch goals, because a lot of people, I noticed there was quite a few metal covers, and those are popular on Kickstarter, but they tend to be more popular to the collectors. So when there's a book that has a pretty big following, like let's say, Lady Death, right? If they make a metal cover, then you can be damn sure people are going to buy it because they know it's going to have value, right? And just making a metal cover on its own isn't always going to do it, because they're going to look at that and go, well, this is a indie comic, first time creator. I don't know that this thing will ever have value, right? So I'm not sure I want to spend $80 on a metal cover that's never going to increase in value.
Right.
So,
I mean, if anything, even do like a metal package. the 10-ton heavy thing, to quote a band. I would I would totally do something that incorporated all of the metal covers, limit how many metal covers you're producing to add that value to the purchase and the backing, and start spreading the word, because I'm afraid, and I don't mean to be harsh, but I do not see you hitting 10,000 on Indiegogo. There's no way. They don't have the bandwidth. Kickstarter does, and I think you stand a better chance by doing both campaigns at the same time on both platforms.
Yeah. All right. So that leaves us to a decision. We've got 3 campaigns. Let's recap them. We've got the Grim Reaper that didn't have a video, had good-looking art with horror. It's not a mixture of comedy and horror, and they were missing out on some tier rewards, but they had a pretty good premise. Then we have Tales from the Cryptic Closet, which was another horror anthology, and we really didn't know much about what was going on. Who were the creators? What kind of stories we're talking about? Anything like that. So it was really, really slim as far as getting into the details with it. And then we have our final one, Curse of the 31st Comic, which again, on its basic premise, sounds just like a lot of horror films, but definitely looks like a new indie creator, a new indie comic in need of some support. So leave your comments below about which one you think is the best choice here today while we decide on ours. I am choosing mine right now. All right. Are you ready, good sir?
Almost.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Drum roll, please. That's what I have. Nice. Very good, very good. All right, congratulations to the Grim Reaper. You get a support from Ashland Studios shortly on your campaign, and then we'll make a post on our Ashland Studios page, and then depending on how we're getting things organized, we might be reaching out to you about being a guest on the show, on a secondary show. But we're still getting that one put together. So
we're working on that one.
Yeah. I do want to make that a regularly scheduled thing, but one of the challenges with that is it depends on, do we get a hold of the person? What's their schedule like? Which is why we're recording them and uploading them to YouTube instead of trying to make another timed weekly show that we don't know whether or not people are going to be available on. All right, well, that's it for today. Thank you all so much for joining us. I hope you learned something. If you like this show and you want to support us, be sure and check out actionlinestudios.com, where you can get the books that I make, Mythica. You can get hoodies, t-shirts. You can also check out Actionline Studios Patreon, patreon.com/Actionline Studios, where you can support the show. You can support Mythica. You can get the naughty after dark, not safe for work stuff, all kinds of fun stuff on that channel. And as well, where can they find and get fun stuff from you, my man?
You can go to 5280geek.com. We are on all major podcasting platforms under Weekend Geek Updates and 5280 Geek. I do a weekly podcast, whether it's interviews or I talk about geeky, nerdy things that have caught my eye, from movies, comics to shows, kind of everything else, in addition to reviews on some of your films, a moment of geek, just to kind of release some pressure, because the world is kind of weird right now. We also have Adventures in Cosplay, where we do some tutorial videos on how to create some foam props for your cosplay. We have a little something for everybody. And like Matt said, we do have opportunities. If you're a business and you want to sponsor us directly, so that way you are part of our intro and outro and everything that we do would be directly tied to you, by all means, please DM us. We would love to have a conversation. In the meantime, give us a like, give us a share. And, we don't want Dean to go hungry, because look at that. Look at that ditto pudding. Oh, that ditto pudding face. He's like, feed me, you bastard.
Support the show. Help feed Dean.
Help feed Dean. We can't. And on that bombshell, we shall say goodbye. So next week we will return. We'll have some more stuff. In the meantime, run fast, laugh hard, and always be kind. Good night.